Which, by the way, is a hate crime when you're attacking people's religion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, first, in reference to what we just heard, that was incredibly appalling, transphobic, jokes about suicide. And of course, these attacks on religion and on the response today have been really, really hard to hear and hard to see. And I know we've been talking a lot about religion and our rights as Americans, and so I think we should probably review that a little bit and actually talk about what actually somebody and a member of the subcommittee has actually said about religion. So
Point of personal privilege.
I'm
just attacking my character.
I haven't attacked anyone's. I don't think I've said anyone's name actually, so I'm not attacking anyone's character.
But wouldn't that require a character, QAnon Karen? Also, you notice how she sprung to action before a name was even mentioned. It's almost like when she hears bigoted, she assumes it's directed towards her. Telling, right? I
haven't attacked anyone's. I don't think I've said anyone's name actually, so I'm not attacking anyone's character. But let's go ahead and read some of these quotes that a member of this subcommittee has actually said. These are public quotes about religion. Let's go through those.
During a GOP-led hearing on civil liberty violations during COVID-19, the topic of religion was brought up, which meant, of course, it was open season on bigotry under the guise of Christianity from God-fearing people like Marge.
I'd also like to talk to you on behalf of all the pregnant women, not people, as you call them. To quote you on August 11th, 2021, CDC encourages all pregnant people, it's women, by the way, who are thinking about becoming pregnant and those breastfeeding to get vaccinated to protect themselves from COVID-19. This has also been ignored. The amount of miscarriages and stillbirths that increased drastically due to your advice to get vaccinated. Pregnant women again, not people.
And just as an aside, by the way, to the hate that she's spewing, notice how she likes to wield religion like a bat when she's attacking trans people under the pretense of the science in the Bible that God created just man and woman, while taking no issue with the scientifically impossible matters of, say, walking on water, parting water with prayer, or turning it into wine, because they can't attack anyone using those chapters.
Congresswoman Marie Newman planted a flag announcing her support for transgender rights and for the Equality Act. But across the hallway, Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene was so upset she posted a rebuttal, a sign reading, "There are two genders, male and female, trust the science." But Greene's sign is seen as more than a tit-for-tat social media stunt. LGBTQ+ advocates view it as a personal attack on Newman, who has a transgender daughter.
But anyway, Democrat Robert Garcia was on hand with receipts that were blown up for the world to see.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, first, in reference to what we just heard, that was incredibly appalling, transphobic, jokes about suicide. And of course, these attacks on religion and on the response today have been really, really hard to hear and hard to see. And I know we've been talking a lot about religion and our rights as Americans, and so I think we should probably review that a little bit and actually talk about what actually somebody and a member of the subcommittee has actually said about religion. So
Point of personal privilege.
I'm just
attacking my character.
I haven't attacked anyone's. I don't think I've said anyone's name actually, so I'm not attacking anyone's character. But let's go ahead and read some of these quotes that a member of this subcommittee has actually said. These are public quotes about religion. Let's go through those. I'll start with the first one. I'm personally, by the way, I'm Catholic. I'm proud to be Catholic, and I take this quote as very offensive. The quote goes, "Satan's controlling the church. The church is not doing its job." This comment was made just in 2020 by a member of this subcommittee. Here's another recent quote, the political reporter ahead of the 2020 elections. The same member of the subcommittee said that Muslims, quote, "do not belong in our government." I also find that very offensive. The same representative of the subcommittee has mocked and vilified Muslim members of Congress, saying they represent, and I quote, "an invasion of our government," and accused them of being terrorist sympathizers because of their religion. The same member of the subcommittee claimed that Jewish bankers were starting wildfires with lasers from space, and this same member compared vaccine requirements to the Holocaust. And so these attacks being made by this member I find pretty disgusting, comparatively looking at the record of what this member has actually said.
There is an Islamic invasion into our government offices right now, okay? You saw after midterm elections, we saw so many Muslims elected. I don't know the exact number, but there were quite a few. We had that woman out of Minnesota. Now she's going into Congress and she's got to wear a head covering. You know, they want to put their hand on the Quran and be sworn in. No, you have to be sworn in on the Bible. But we have an Islamic invasion into our government offices. Now, yes, we have, I'll say this, we have freedom of religion in this country that protects anyone to have any kind of religion that they want. And that's great. That's one of our freedoms, right? But I'm sorry, anyone that is a Muslim that believes in Sharia law does not belong in our government. They don't. Let me explain something to you, Muhammad. Let me explain. We already have equality and justice for all Americans. Muslims are not being held back in any way. That's our Constitution, our Bill of Rights guarantees everyone equality and justice. But what you people want is special treatment. You want to rise above us, and that's what we're against. Yeah, they should stay in their countries and make their countries great again, right? Leave our country alone. Leave it alone. This whole world, this beautiful, beautiful big blue ball, planet Earth, it's like a buffet of countries. It's like a buffet. If you want Islam and Sharia law, you stay over there in the Middle East. You stay there and go to Mecca and do all your thing. And you know what? You can have a whole bunch of wives or goats or sheep or whatever you want. You stay over there. But in America, see, we made it this great, great country. We don't want it messed up.
But we've been talking about the pandemic, or that's what I thought we were going to talk about today. So let's talk about the pandemic and focus on the president that was actually there when the closures first started, and that was, of course, former President Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump has also made numerous bigoted statements about Muslims, Jewish people, and many others. We've all seen those press reports. I won't go through them in my short.
Mind those wielding such attacks of their own bigotry and the bigotry spewed by the cult leader they rush to worship. You know, the one they celebrated as a true Christian leader who could not quote one verse from the Bible.
Okay. You mentioned the Bible. You've been talking about how it's your favorite book. And you said, I think last night in Iowa, some people are surprised that you say that. I'm wondering what one or two of your most favorite Bible verses are and why.
I wouldn't want to get into it because to me that's very personal. You know, when I talk about the Bible, it's very personal. So I don't want to get into verses. I don't want to get into...
There's no verse that means a lot to you that you think about or cite?
The Bible means a lot to me, but I don't want to get into specifics.
Even to cite a verse that you like?
No, I don't want to do that.
You're an Old Testament guy or a New Testament guy?
Probably equal. I think it's just an incredible... The whole Bible is an incredible... I joke very much so. They always hold up the Art of the Deal. I say my second favorite book of all time.
And let's not forget the time that KK Karen once claimed that attacking someone's religion was a hate crime, before then going on to accuse Muslim members in office of sympathizing with terrorists simply because of their religion.
Which, by the way, is a hate crime when you're attacking people's religion.
The gentlelady from Georgia is recognized.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition to the Islamophobia bill. One thing that seems to be missing from this bill is the definition of Islamophobia. What this bill does is it sets up, through the State Department, an envoy to monitor and combat acts of Islamophobia and Islamophobic incitement that occur in foreign countries. This is about Islamophobia in foreign countries and the State Department monitoring and combating these acts. This is what we need to talk about. What does that exactly mean? If we pass this resolution, does that mean our State Department is going to be monitoring how Israel responds when rockets are being fired from Hamas into Israel? If they defend themselves, does that mean the State Department is going to combat their actions because it will be considered Islamophobic?
The gentleman is recognized.
Well, I appreciate the fact that the gentleman yielded the gentlelady more time because that made absolutely no sense to me.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.